Robert Lewandowski, top, as you would expect. He's been so good working in that 6-yard box. Mbappe is kind of the one that's been a little underrated. He's been getting goals, even when people were talking about him as a bit of a disappointment. Now that he's hitting form, he's on 17, and then you go all the way down. Sunset, who we talked about in that previous segment, Jose Perez as well on 11. But some interesting exclusions here. We wanted to talk about goals and assists. No Lamine Yamal on this list. He's only got 5 goals in the league, but he does have an 11 assists, who is the leading assist getter.
And that does change a lot of things in terms of the storyline for how individuals have been doing this season. Let's take a look now on the other side of the field, though. We're going to look at the top goalkeepers that have kept clean sheets. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, from the Pichichi race to the Zamora race, the 2 trophies that are handed out at the end of the season. This is essentially a goals against you per game ratio. So you have your GA, which is your goals against, and MP is your matches played, right? It's incredible that Atletico Madrid has only conceded 16 goals all season long, when I don't feel like we're talking about Atletico Madrid too much in a defensive light. It's a lot about Julian Alvarez and his combination with Griezmann and Sorloth this season, and Giuliano Simeone, Samulino, the wing play. There's so much dynamism to this Atletico Madrid team that we forget that Jan Oblak is leading the Zamora race. You do have David Soria, Thibaut Courtois right there, Alex Remiro, and Augusto Batasha. But it looks like Jan Oblak, if they keep this pace, even if Atletico doesn't win La Liga, that he could potentially be winning a Zamora trophy.
So now that we've seen the league leaders in these 2 categories, and we also talked about goals and assists, that category, who are your top players? We're going to start off with you, Whitty.
So I've gone for Raphinha as my top player this season in La Liga, and I do understand he has 24 goals and 18 assists. Only 13 of those goals have come in La Liga. 8 have come in the Champions League, of course, had that hat-trick against Bayern Munich. But for me, Raphinha has been the best player in this Barcelona team. He, for me, typifies the change in identity that they have had. I'm not certain that he was flawlessly suited to the way that Xavi, for instance, had Barcelona playing. There were times where there was real doubts about whether or not he was Barcelona quality, but under Hansi Flick, with the pressing identity that they brought, they're higher up the pitch, the intensity required from the forwards, and as well as picking out chances early, hitting those early balls in behind, putting defensive lines under pressure. I think Raphinha has been the best player in this team this season. He's got 13 goals and 7 assists. The figures might not look brilliant, but I think in totality, you look at the whole composition of his season and the way that he has helped change the identity of this Barcelona team, which right now are top of the league. I've gone to Raphinha.
And to add to your argument, I know we're talking specifically about La Liga, but to the stats we were just looking at, you add his Champions League performances, and we're talking about a very strong Ballon d'Or candidate.
So Raphinha over Lamine Yamal for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think Yamal has had a very good season, but when you talk about 5 goals and 11 assists, a little bit less production. Yamal has a lot of gravity in that right side, but I think game in, game out performance and what he's actually delivering, I think Raphinha is a little bit better this season.
He delivers, Raphinha. Yamal is dangerous. He's threatening constantly. I think he's crafting a different sort of youthful way. But Raphinha puts on performances that win you games outright on the biggest stage, and he's proven to be the main catalyst for Barcelona this season.
Which way are you swaying, Tom, for this one?
For me, it's Kylian Mbappe is my leader for player of the season in Spain. So he has 17 goals. A lot of the early season discussion was criticism. What is he doing wrong? Why can't he do better? Why is he not fitting in? Is he fitting out? He's second in La Liga in goals. And again, you guys are muddying the conversation a little bit with Champions League stats. I'm not going to use any of those numbers because this is just a La Liga award, of course.
Well, he is coming off a hat-trick in the Champions League against Manchester City. He's starting to deliver.
I could use that to boost my argument, but I'm not going to. You said it, not me. Kylian Mbappe, if I believe that Real Madrid are going to win the league, so that's why I went Mbappe, because I think that if in that scenario, it's going to be Mbappe. If Barcelona win the league, Raphinha or Yamal could be that, but for me, it's Mbappe.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the difference maker. Whoever's going to win the league. Now, if Atletico Madrid wins the league, who do you give it to? That's a big question.
For me, Griezmann's been their top performer this season.
Or Julian Alvarez as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make an argument for both, but numbers-wise, I don't know. I think Mbappe and Raphinha do make a good enough argument that even if they don't win the league with their respective teams, they could get a decent shout to be player of the season if Atletico Madrid still ends up winning La Liga. I mean, it obviously all depends. Julian Alvarez can go on a tear. Griezmann can go on a tear. So
do you think we're being unfair not talking about Lewandowski as the top goal scorer in the league, or is he? Or is it just sort of like this is harsh? He's brilliant. He's an all-time great goal scorer. A little bit tap-in merchant this season.
No, because you still have to score those goals.
Right.
Like, you still have to put up those type of numbers. Like, even if you're expected to, like, you have to deliver. I'm not too sure. I think the way that Raphinha influences the game, it's different to the way that Lewandowski does.
I agree. So I don't take anything away from air quotes like tap-in merchant because of the intelligence, the movement, the timing, everything else. He's there all the time. He's world class at that. One of the best ever, really. But for me, Raphinha and Lamine Yamal impact the game more than Lewandowski does, while still saying Lewandowski has been phenomenal this year.
Yeah, I can't wait for Lamine Yamal to put up better numbers. He's so young, and you could tell that he has.
I feel like it's right there.
And he's right there, and he's gonna get there.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that he's gonna get there.
Let me just add a quick one while we're talking about chances created and assists. Mbappe, while he only has 3 assists, he's in the 93rd percentile of expected assists among forwards in La Liga. So that shows he's maybe a little bit unlucky that he doesn't have a handful more of assists.
No, I can't take that argument when you play for Real Madrid. When you're a little bit unlucky when you're playing with the likes of Rodrigo, Vinicius, Jude Bellingham. Like,
I think he's saying that they haven't finished enough.
Yeah, but tell that to a Real Madrid fan. Like, he's second in expected assists. Assist.
What I'm saying is that Lewandowski is pure number 9, tap in goals. That's what he's there for. Mbappe, you might look at that with the numbers, but he's been more than that this season.
You're the tiebreaker here, Nico. Which one, Raphinha? It sounds like you're going towards.
Today, it's Raphinha for me. But Kylian Mbappe, I think there's a very, very strong argument for Kylian Mbappe that he's now hit 4th gear. He's not even in 6th gear. He took a while to get the car out of 1st, 2nd. He would go back to 1st. The car would stall out. But he was progressing. And now, given his Champions League form, given the confidence, ever since that penalty kick miss against Athletic Club, he's just been ramping it up, and he has been consistent.
And let's be honest, this is the point of the season in which these things get decided. There's 13 games left in the La Liga title race. They're pushing for Champions League. This is the time when all of this gets decided.
Nico, is there a player that's been under the radar that you think maybe in the next couple of weeks could really come to the front of being player of the season?
I don't know if to the level of player of the season, because I do think you need to win a trophy to be player of the season, and
I think Alvarez could be one. I don't want to take it out of your mouth because, I mean, that's your guy is Argentine. But, like, I think Alvarez, if Atletico, as you say, he's really kicked on these last few months. If his production has improved, he's now on 20 goals in all competitions this season. If Atletico go on a run here, I think he could probably be
we won't know, but I don't think he's like an under-the-radar player. He's on the graphic. You know, any of these guys could end up being player of the season. But Ayoze Perez has 11 goals for Villarreal already, and they're right there on the cusp. If Atletico Madrid ends up beating Athletic Club and Villarreal win their game this weekend, they could get even closer to Athletic. And Ayoze, he's been injured for a couple of games and he hasn't contributed as much as you like, but to have 11 goals on a season off of a pretty cheap transfer, they paid what, like €4 million for Ayoze Perez from Betis to contribute those numbers. They've only lost in one game in which he scored, and that was a rout against Barcelona. But he's been impressive. Him and his partnership with Alex Baena is something to watch in La Liga, and Villarreal's season under Marcelino is not over yet. Just they're kind of flying under the radar.
Can you stand next to the wall, because you guys look a lot. Make sure we get out of the shot.
This is perfect.
Oh, this is
Doing on that badge.
Oh, this string.